after a certain while, I'll listen to something that I've done and I'll be like, I could do this better. I always have to remind myself, like, when you wrote it, you had this intent, you had like this energy behind it. There was a purpose. Consistently staying grounded in the purpose, I feel like that helps alleviate a lot of that anxiety for me.
Let go and hold that we made it. Explore as fast as we'll take this. Is it careless to fall in love? Or is it coward to not giving up?
All right, we're good to go.
Great.
All right. Shit, I'm out of practice. Oh, it's falling over here.
Is the chair good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So today we have a very special guest, Michelle Hopkins.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Hi guys, I'm Michelle Hopkins. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm in Remix Round 18.0. I am Tanzanian and I live in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So I see that you've answered this multiple times, but only once in English. So if you want to do it again, how did you get into making music?
Oh God. Okay, so I am a sibling. Like I'm the youngest of like 2 kids. So
Right.
I don't know if you're the youngest, then you know that you idolize like your oldest sibling. And when I was younger, I definitely idolized my sister.
Mm-hmm.
When she was younger, she pursued music. She liked songwriting. She liked performing. So because she loved it, I was like, I have to try doing that too. And so I did it, and it just kind of stuck with me. I started using it as like a way to address, feelings and to actually write down like what I felt like I was going through. So yeah, it ended up just sticking with me, and I just stuck through it, and I felt like it was meant for me.
What are your favorite emotions to explore in music specifically?
I'm a lover girl, so
Okay.
anything like relationship oriented, anything that helps me actually like process how I'm feeling. I've only recently gotten better at like addressing confrontation like head on and like actually speaking up when I feel a certain way, and I feel like music for a very long time helped me speak up when I didn't feel like I could.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely just like any emotions that have to do with love, any like feelings of like anxiety or like overwhelming feelings, like that's something that I usually love to write out and process through my songwriting.
All right. Okay. No, I hear that. Content helps me get my anxiety out sometimes too. So
Oh
I
God.
respect that.
Yeah, I have so much anxiety, and
But it also gives me anxiety at the same time.
I was gonna say it's like a both things that helps.
Yeah.
Then you also have the anxiety of like when you're releasing stuff and you're like, oh, people like this, or oh my God, it's actually gonna be interpreted by an audience. And when something that you make is so personal, like sometimes you don't really want to hand it off.
Right.
But then like that's the thing about like art and specifically about music. It's like even though your perspective is unique, you're always gonna relate to someone else in some way, and they're gonna relate to you in some way. So yeah, I just feel like there's power in that.
So how do you deal with like releasing music? Because I was talking with John, and he mentioned like sometimes he gets anxious beforehand.
Oh, 1000%.
And I know for me, like when I release these videos, it's like I'm like checking every 2 minutes what the views are.
Yeah.
And I gotta like not do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you deal with that anxiety of like releasing music and stuff?
Honestly, I think it's just like I know it's very hard to do and easier to say, but it's just having belief in what you've created. And once you've released it, kind of just leaving it alone. Like not like don't stop promoting it, don't stop marketing what you've done, but at the same time, like stop trying to edit, stop trying to change things. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like as musicians or as people that create hot content, you get so like like obsessing with like the nitty gritty as if someone's not going to just swipe up on their phone and have a next video in like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like something you spent hours over, someone's just going to swipe up and like have access to the next thing in like seconds. So I feel like sometimes there's just that you have to have that confidence and being like, when I release this, I believe in it. I believe in the concept. I believe in the idea. This is the execution. You know what I mean? And if people give you feedback, take it for the next one. It doesn't
Right.
have to be applied instantly in what you've just released. You don't have to edit it based on everyone's feedback. You will be doing that forever.
Right. No, that's a
So
good point. I know for me, like the way I see it is I try to keep things as simple as possible now because like a lot of people overthink details that most people don't even notice.
yeah.
So how do you do that with your music?
I try to, like, again, remember how I was when I really invested in an idea. I'm not gonna lie. I am sort of one of those artists that, like, after a certain while, I'll listen to something that I've done and I'll be like, I could do this better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because I've changed since releasing it, or like my vocal ability has gotten better, or like I feel like my songwriting has, or whatever. But it's just like I always have to remind myself, like, when you wrote it, when you released it, you had this intent, you had like this energy behind it. There was a purpose.
Right.
And like consistently staying grounded in the purpose, I feel like that helps alleviate a lot of that anxiety for me. And also remembering people scroll. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's things are temporary. I can always just take feedback and apply it to the next thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think the music is more important than the marketing or vice versa?
Ooh, great question.
Appreciate it.
Great question. I definitely believe the music is important, but if you don't market well, no one is ever going to hear your music.
Right.
And like, as much as we love to say we create for like ourselves, when you create to hand it off, like when you release music, you're trying to get it into as many hands as possible. You're trying to have people hear, like as many people hear it, because you want people to relate, you want people to connect, you want people to, you know, experience what you experienced when you were like writing it.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely feel like the music is definitely important. You can't be marketing bad music.
No, I agree.
But at the same time, you have to also not just release good music and then be like, people will find it.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, like our teacher in the artist development class, he shared this terrifying stat. Do you know how many songs are released a day on Apple Music and Spotify?
You know what's funny? I just came across a TikTok about it, but I don't remember.
100K.
Oh shit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, I can't do math, but that is a lot of songs a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like assuming that someone will find it
Right.
is that's a big assumption.
Yeah.
Gotta help them a bit. You know what I mean?
Right. So okay. So then, what's like what do you think the best way to market your music is? Like, do you think because there's different approaches, right? Like you can go social media, build it up on like TikTok or Instagram,
Shout out
and
TikTok.
then people go into your Spotify and listen to it.
Yeah.
Or me and John were talking about it, how like labels will pay to get their artist songs into like the playlist on Spotify. So based on what you have access to, what's like your best way to market it?
Honestly, truly, it's everything that we do right now is grassroots. I'm independent, so
Right.
I'm literally working with a team. A lot of the teams from Remix. Shout out to the team. But like, honestly, it's just figuring out creative ideas that relate to the story you're trying to tell.
Okay.
Like, who are you?
Right.
In 30 seconds, how could you communicate that to other people? Because again, attention spans are short, and it's not just TikTok, it's Instagram, it's whatever platform you're using.
It's even music.
Yeah,
like
even
the intro's got to catch you. So
you know what I mean? It's like nowadays people just like they want to be gratified instantly.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to figure out a way of marketing your music in a way that is gratifying. So I don't know.
Right.
I haven't really like cracked it yet, obviously, but the team and I are working on it, and like definitely having like an idea of your world, and I think that's why I'm taking so much time with everything, is like something that does make you more likely to get playlisted, does make you more appealing to people to push out, because it's like, oh, this is this person and they're very sure that this is what they're trying to say. Right. Yeah, I feel like that's something, that's what we can control as artists, because you can't really control like, will this go viral? Will people playlist it? You can just do everything you can to do that. Right. But you can't really, you don't have control on whether or not it happens or not.
Right. No, I respect that. So obviously from doing research on you, integrity and being authentic to yourself is a big thing. Yes. So in terms of like marketing yourself, how do you not like, I guess become, I don't know how to describe it, but not like overplay yourself and like who you are, or like pretend to be something that you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you nailed it though. Like, if just don't pretend to be something you're
Right.
not, because like I feel like once you do that, you're setting something up that's unsustainable, and then
Right.
at a certain point, you will want to not be that anymore. And when you do that, whoever has been riding with you up until that point will be confused
Right.
because they'll be like, I thought this was what you were. I thought, you know what I mean? So if you're from the jump yourself, you lose nothing. You know what I mean? You
Right.
have the opportunity to gain everything, rather than if you're someone else.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity, yeah, sure, to gain everything, but you have also the opportunity to lose everything. And I feel
Right.
like that's like gambling.
Nah, I
Sha.
hear you. It's like if Drake gets married, right? He's not that certified lover boy anymore.
Huh?
Hmm?
Would you?
That
I just caught that. That's crazy. That's great. Yo, that day will be insane. I feel like so many women will mourn. So,
I have a theory that he'll never get married because of that. He's gonna come back when he's 60 and
it'll just be like I had to write it out. I had to be a certified lover boy till the end.
Certified lover boy too.
That's crazy. I feel like, yeah, but we move. That's different topics.
This is about Michelle today, not Drake. So
shout out to the six.
Right, so you grew up in Tanzania?
Yes, I did.
So briefly, like, what was your experience like growing up there?
I love Tanzania. I saw this TikTok that said you never see Tanzanians outside of their country because Tanzania is such a beautiful country. Yes. But also most people go to the UK because we were colonized by the British.
Okay.
So,
well, this got deep.
Okay. But yes, I love Tanzania. I grew up there. I lived there for 15 years. My whole family is still there. Actually, I'm pretty much the only one that's in Canada. Yeah, I miss it, honestly. Like it was very integral to who I am as a person. Like I'm very connected to my culture, very connected to my community, and like I can't wait to be of a status where I can highlight my community, highlight my country, because there's so much great music that comes from it, but also give back and change a couple of the things that have become so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did your upbringing there affect like your songwriting ability then? Like in terms of like the stories that you're telling and the voice that you're presenting to other people?
I feel like it just exposed me to a lot of different perspectives. Right. Like I still tell a lot of mine, like when I'm songwriting, but like it just gave me that ability to see how different people live and how different people exist. And I feel like that appreciation is consistently like at the back of my mind, especially when I do stuff like music, especially when I'm in environments like this, because I know like coming from where I come from, like it that's not normal for a lot of people. Like it's not normal to be in environments like this. So I don't know, it's like a different energy because it's just like that consistent motivation to make access to things like this more normal, you know? But also like I love to put Swahili in my music. That's actually something I'm challenging myself to do more. And just
what is that?
Kiswahili, it's the language of Tanzania.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so it's something that I speak, I write, I read, but it's not really obviously known as much in the West. But Lion King, by the way, that was Kiswahili. Hakuna Matata. You guys have been singing Swahili, so I know y'all can do it. I just gotta pepper some lyrics in there, and I feel like it's very easy to pick up on. So I just wanna. That's a way that I try and be authentic with where I came from, just honoring my language. You know what I mean? Something that's not consistently heard.
Right.
When I first moved to Toronto, I was a bit nervous still. Not just moved to Toronto, but when I moved to Canada.
Right.
Just because, like, I'm not going to act like the music industry back home is any better. The music industry is the music industry everywhere. But you just try to navigate as, like, a young woman is very anxiety-inducing. Because you always trying to be like, is this a professional relationship or is this a different type of
trying to, you know,
finesse? Yeah.
Or not finesse.
You know what I mean. So it's always that, like, what type of vibe is this thing? Always got to be a little bit on guard.
So being a part of Remix, and then being from other countries, you've been able to like network with a lot of amazing artists. I say other countries, one other country. So out of all the artists or producers or managers or whoever that you've worked with, what has been like the most valuable piece of advice that you've received?
Oh, also a great question. There's a lot of valuable advice I've picked up from people. I think what we've talked about branding, like knowing who you are, something that was like, I've always been a person that wants to do everything. I love everything. I love every genre and this and this and this. But a great piece of advice that someone told me was like, while you're emerging, at least, like while you're introducing people into your community and introducing them to who you are, don't confuse people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, be a bit consistent about who you are and what genre you do and what you're trying to say. You can switch up when you're at a certain level of establishment, but it's like at the beginning, like if you're like flipping from like house to trap to R&B, like people will be a bit confused. So like give your community consistency and kind of be clear with yourself with what you're most drawn to and what resonates with your soul the most. And I feel like that can be a difficult message to hear because as artists we're always like create everything, create different things. But it definitely helps to see yourself more as a business because businesses can't always change what it is that they are. So yeah,
that's fair. So then, because I'm always someone that I love when the artists I listen to do different genres myself. So I'm just curious, like how maybe for you or for how you perceive the people that you listen to.
Yeah.
How do you relate the genre to like the story they're trying to tell?
So again, with established artists, it's usually pretty easy. You know what I mean? Like with Drake, we know who Drake is. And when he did his little like House John, we were like, oh, Drake's trying house. And when Beyonce did Renaissance, we were like, okay, Beyonce is also trying house. So it's like they still communicate their stories, they still do it in a unique way, but it's like we still know who they are as an artist and what their normal sound is. It's like I enjoy when artists do other things and people like, for example, I don't know if you know who Rema is. He's like, some of his most popular stuff is Afrobeats.
Yes.
But he is a rapper.
Yeah.
He has rap songs like out there, like really good ones, and most people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
like,
I
just been listening to his like Afrobeats, right? So.
I love some of his, like check out Spaceship Jocelyn. That when I first heard that, I was like, this cannot be the same Rema that did Calm Down. Like you know what I mean? There's versatility in artists, but I think it's just knowing how to convey that to your audience.
Right. No, right. I think like you gotta be consistent with what you're doing until you build a name for it, and then from there you can branch out. But like you can't branch out if you forget your roots. So,
like Tyler the Creator did that very well. Yeah, he built like his core fan base for a very long time. He was very much like, this is who I am. Then he got to a certain point where he was like, this is who I am plus. So
yeah, do you watch YouTubers at all?
I used to, not as much anymore. I kind of like Netflix and shows and TV shows, and honestly I have a lot of comfort things that I just rewatch.
I feel you.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up is because I don't know if you've heard of KSI.
Yes I have.
Okay, so like
yes I have.
That's kind of where I learned that from, just like observing what he's done. Is like obviously he started making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And now that he's at a point where he's like a worldwide artist
music,
and boxing, he still does YouTube.
Yeah.
So like he still keeps the roots strong.
Yeah.
Whereas like, do you know DDG?
No.
Oh, he's the guy that's dating what's Haley.
Oh yes, I do know. So, like, the guy that, oh my god, he filmed The Little Mermaid and then a picture of his fist, and I was like, that is crazy.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was I died.
So she knows him better than I do, apparently.
I died. I know him for bad things.
Okay. So the reason I bring him up is because he did the opposite of what KSI did. And that's kind of why his audience is a bit alienated. So like he's
also a YouTuber?
Yeah, that's what he did. He did vlogs every day for like years. And then he made music and then never made a vlog again, deleted all his videos, and now people are like, okay, what do we do? Like he made some now again because like he realized that was a bad
That was the money. Yeah. You can't just stop.
Nah. But it's just like you're gonna alienate yourself if you like completely change.
Yeah.
So
and also like people like invested into you for a reason, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to rebrand, like just be very clear about the rebrand and be consistent in it. Like but don't expect the same people that were originally like know that you're starting again essentially from the rebrand. Like don't think that the people that were with you the original brand are gonna stick around. Like some people like what they like and not just like you.
Right.
It's if you win if people like you,
Right.
but it's like if people just like the genre you were doing, like
Yeah. No,
you're gonna lose that
great point.
person.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like artists like Drake and Beyonce can venture into different things.
Yeah, because I feel like at this point, people have invested in them. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, they're just Beyonce fans. They're just Drake
Yeah.
fans. They're just, you know, X and X fans. It's
Yeah.
not really like, I'm an R&B fan, so I
Right.
like this artist. It's more like, I'm a fan of this artist. Taylor Swift is also a crazy one. Like,
Oh yeah, her stans are
cult following. It's insane. I'm one of her fans, but I'm just like, damn. Like,
Yeah.
you would just sit back and be like, wow, this is still a human being.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I can see it. You're just thinking to yourself, wow, I'm crazy. I'm stalking a well, I can't talk. I was
about to be like, huh? Stalking Drake?
Yeah, but see, like I control the edit, so like I can cut that out.
I've never like actually stalked an artist, I think, because again, back home, because that is where I grew up.
Right.
Like we do have like people that are celebrities, but at the same time, like we wouldn't like they'd be around. So I feel like I kind of just have that like these people are people mentality. So I feel like if I ever meet someone, unless it's Beyonce, guys, my face when I meet Beyonce, hui! But like internally, that will be my face. I have to try and pretend to the best of my ability because like they're just a person.
Right.
So I feel like you have to try and honor
that. But yeah, I was gonna ask something. Shit. Something about what?
So it slipped your mind.
Yeah.
Let me help you jog it back. What are we talking about?
No, I think I got it. Some of those genres.
Yeah, help.
Not really. You kind of distract me, but nah, but
let me have it.
She helped. When you were mentioning earlier about how the stories that you pick relate to the genres, why did you pick the genres that you picked?
A lot of the stuff I write is emotional.
Okay.
And those genres work really well in expressing emotion. And like I just like singing, like honestly, truly, like especially songs that make me feel like as I sing them like some sort of like release. So that's why pop and R&B and singer-songwriter like soul type vibes gravitate to me the most, just because I feel like you can do a lot and you don't have to be confined with what the genre is. You can kind of just create what you think something is.
Right. That's fair. So no country for you?
I mean, if I write for a country artist, I feel like that would slap.
If you get drunk one day and you sit by a campfire or something, you can write a little country.
You know, write a little country thing, put in a little twang. But yeah, no, I feel like again, people would be very confused. African girl writing country. We'll be like, what do you know about horses? You know, cows and goats, like behave.
I mean, Lil Nas was able to do it, so.
That's true, though.
But I think.
But also, I feel like depending on where you're from in America, you can tap into that.
Yeah, that's true.
What country is there in Tanzania?
Some Canadian pockets you could rap, so. I don't know.
You're right.
Maybe I should be your manager. I don't know.
Multi-purpose stuff, you know. Have me doing house.
I'd have you singing country and shit.
You know.
Oh god.
Yo.
Based on the research and now talking to you.
Okay.
You seem like a very open person in terms of like if you're talking to somebody, you're very receptive and kind of open to their perspective of things, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So how do you balance embracing someone else's viewpoint while also knowing when to listen to yourself and your own intuition? Because that's something I struggle with, so I want to hear your opinion on that.
That is a great question. So I definitely, the reason like I'm always so open and like hearing other people's perspectives is like I said earlier, like we don't live the same life. And even if we did live the same life in the same home, raised by the same family, like people, like we wouldn't experience it the same. And like it's that perspective difference that I think makes each human being so powerful and makes us so unique. So I feel like there's definitely times where you need to trust in your perspective and trust in like what you lived and the fact that you're trying to articulate what you lived. And I feel like that usually comes out when we're trying to create content or when we're releasing music, you know, that's something personal. That's something that came from you, how you see it, you know what I mean?
Right.
How you string videos together. I feel like there's a certain confidence you need to have in that.
Right.
But at the same time, like in our industries, criticism is plenty.
Yeah.
You know, criticism is so normal. And I don't think there's anything bad with criticism. You just have to be selective with where, like, who you receive it from,
Right.
and like notice where it's coming from. You know what I mean? Like if it's coming from other content creators, people that genuinely want you to like be better and improve, like of course, like hear them out. Again, don't apply it to what you've just done. Apply it next time,
Right.
if you want to apply it. But it's like, if it's just from a random commenter
Yeah.
on like a video that you put your heart like and soul into, and it's user 1459 with no image, like, you know what I mean? There's certain criticism that's just like it's pointless to listen to, because some people just have nothing better to do.
Right.
So just constantly being aware of who you're receiving this stuff from and who you're staying open to. Like, be open to criticism, be open to hearing people's perspective, but not everyone, and not all the time.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the book Atomic Habits?
No, tell me about it.
Okay. So I think this is from that book.
Okay.
My co-host Steph told me the line was from this book, so I'm going off his word.
Yep. Steph is you on the line.
Exactly. Okay. What was the line? So basically, it was like a story about how, like, when Coca-Cola was doing well, they seen Pepsi start doing well.
Yeah.
But they didn't change their formula to what Pepsi was doing. They just stuck to their own thing. But they still like took a few, like, maybe marketing tactics and things like that. So I guess that's essentially what helped me figure that out, and it's kind of similar to what you were saying.
Because again, Pepsi was trying to beat Coke, and Pepsi just created a great marketing strategy and great marketing campaign. At the end of the day, it's still Coke versus Pepsi, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's definitely a point. Like, you don't want to change your formula just because other people are suddenly like competing with you or criticizing what you're doing. Like, you can learn and pick and grow, but you gotta be mindful of where that's coming from.
Exactly. We'll go back to the marketing a little bit.
Because it's important. Guys, marketing is everything that is.
In context of music, what is marketing?
Like I said earlier, kind of like knowing what your brand is and knowing who your audience is. Because again, like, your audience can be everyone. It would be nice, but your audience can't be everyone.
Right.
So it's kind of like knowing who you're trying to like pinpoint, who you're trying to appeal to. Marketing is having a brand identity and being able to communicate it, and just being able to say, this is who I am, like, consistently.
Right.
And so that whenever people think of you, they're like, oh, this is Michelle. This is Michelle's brand is this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or this is Steven. Steven does this. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like having an instant association. That's when you know you've done successful marketing. I feel like that's marketing music is just, what is your story? Because nowadays we all have, like, there's so much music, but it's like, who is the artist behind the music?
Right.
What is the music's purpose? Who are you trying to connect to?
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, do you see like marketing as like an extension of your music? Because like it's storytelling in a sense?
Definitely.
Oh, that's how I see it. So
definitely agree with that. Because again, yeah, marketing is storytelling to like that broader audience about what your music is saying, what your world is saying, what you're trying to create.
right.
Just having like that direction.
Right.
Yeah. So, and like we talked about earlier, like there's so much stuff that it's just trying to break through the noise.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk to you about like performing and building your name in the city.
Yes.
So I assume you've done performances in Tanzania as well. So obviously you built your name there, but coming here now, you've done a few.
Yeah, I'm still obviously trying to do more, but I've been able to do stuff like I mentioned earlier, Honey Jam. I did the Waveland Black History Month Festival. That was great.
Right.
They're a great team. I'm trying to do little like more Waveland events and things like So Far, because they have very intimate audiences. But to work up to that, like I feel usually very comfortable performing.
Right.
I'm at the point where I want to perform a story. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to create an experience and articulate how a string of songs tie together. And I feel like that will work best when I have my project out and when I'm able to like fully articulate the world with my team. So like I love performing. I definitely will continue to take any like performance opportunities that come up. But right now I'm not so actively chasing them. I'm just kind of like creating and trying to build a structure around what I'm creating.
As you're working on your EP right now, are you thinking about how you're going to perform the songs while you're recording them?
1,000%. I'm a type of person that like I will not record a song, especially like, or try and hit a note that I know I cannot hit live.
Mhm.
That to me is like musical catfishing. Like,
Okay, that's one I've never heard before. That's getting clipped for sure. For sure, that's getting clipped.
because it's like, I'm like, you hear me and you think I sound like that, and then you see me, like, you pay to see me live, and then I don't sound like that. Like, I would be, as a consumer, a little bit upset.
Right.
And then like I'd feel like a little tricked. So like I try not to do that in my music.
Right.
And a lot in my music as well, we try and use a lot of like live instrumentation,
Right.
because when I do performances, I want them to be with live bands and have that energy of like a live set. So definitely whenever I'm doing a song, I'm like, could this be performed live?
Right.
If not,
right. So on the days that you do perform, what's your like preparation like? Because like myself, like we talked about before, like we get anxious in certain moments,
definitely,
right?
Yeah.
The best thing that's worked for me personally, that I heard from a boxer named Gervonta Davis. I don't know if you know who that is. He just had a big fight recently. He said he just goes about his day like it's a normal day. So like a lot of athletes will have their chauffeur drive them to the arena. He'll drive the car himself. He'll do mundane things throughout the day, like might play on his PlayStation or whatever. That way, it doesn't seem like it's some big activity he's preparing for. And for me personally, that's helped me, like previously with basketball games or any sort of performance that I've had to do, like talking in front of people.
That's
so
great advice.
Curious to hear if you have any preparation routine.
That's great advice. I think I'm gonna steal that, to be honest. Because like my preparation routine is usually just stress about it until I'm on stage.
Right.
Like once I get on stage, like it's happening. So at that point, like the anxiety kind of just melts.
Right.
But I am definitely someone that usually like does get like really anxious until I step on stage.
Right.
But then it's just like, yeah, I think the preparation for me, something that helps me feel calm, is making sure I'm practice. I don't only just practice what I'm going to sing, I practice what I'm going to say.
Right.
You know, like, or at least like it might not be the exact words I use, but the theme of them. Right. And like I should just know like this theme goes before this song. This, you know what I mean? Right. So like I try to do as much practice as possible. I feel like that helps. But also at the end of the day, it's that pebble in the stream kind of mentality that like you can prepare as much, you can do everything that you can control, but it gets to a certain point where it's just like you can't control how the audience reacts, or if there's a tech malfunction while you're on stage, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of just accepting certain levels of anxiety. Like I'm an anxious person, I've mentioned that many times, and I just feel like there's a level of anxiety that's always with me regardless. So yeah, definitely when I'm passionate about something and when I'm about to share what I'm passionate about with people, I get higher levels of anxiety. I wish there was a way to stop it, but I will be trying that, acting like it's a normal day thing. I think that might help. Yeah,
that personally helped me. On that one English podcast that you did.
Shut up.
I'm never gonna let that go.
Because we would otherwise you would have had to learn Swahili in a week.
You know, I tried to translate it on YouTube, and they didn't have the language, and I was like, "Are you serious right now? Like, what the fuck?"
That's funny. They made Swahili the official language of the African Union. That's crazy that they don't have that translated on YouTube.
I mean, I tried on my phone. I should probably try it on my phone. So maybe that's what it was.
I'll get blaming YouTube when it's your technology.
Yeah. I'll cut that part. Yeah, like I said, on that one episode that you did, you were saying that one of the songs you were about to perform at the time was going to be unreleased. How do you know when the music that you're working on is ready to be performed?
You don't.
Okay.
Actually.
So like, are you doing it as like a test?
Sometimes, yeah, because it's like you get to live see how an audience reacts, if they relate, if it's good. Sometimes I leave a performance and I'm like, I need to edit a couple lines. Or it's like I'll be singing something in practice for the performance and I'll be like, why did I think this works? Because my breath is dying, you know? So you have to do a little tweak here, a little change there. But yeah, it definitely just helps you understand whether or not people are relating to it. Because it's like, yes, sure, your music might not be for everyone, but if you have a room of 100 people and 90 people don't like it,
Yes.
sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so just listening to who you want to be your audience and going off of that. That's definitely something I try and do.
So are you, when you're on stage, like obviously you're focused on performing, but how, like what kind of cues are you looking for to like observe in the crowd?
Just like engagement, reading the vibe. Like again, if I am speaking, like are they relating to what I'm saying? If I am singing and I have like a little interactive part, are people actually participating? You know, like.
Are you looking at that while you're in the moment, or like after when you look at people that film it?
Oh, just like I mean after, but also like sometimes in I wouldn't say so much in the moment because like I'm not gonna lie, sometimes in the moment it feels like it can feel like two things, like both something like that's happening so present and like you're so into, but at the same time it can also feel like a blur. That like it just like you're, because it's like you've been performing or rehearsing for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and then all of a sudden in 30 minutes it's over.
Yeah.
And that 30 minutes can both feel like the longest 30 minutes of your life,
yeah,
and also the shortest once it's over. So it's kind of like looking at footage, trying to remember how it felt when you were on stage, listening to members of your team. This is where like team becomes such like a big thing. Like who was at your show that can be like, hey, the audience was really vibing to this, or the audience was really like rocking with this, or like this song like kind of went a little quiet still, you know, like just having feedback from people, having feedback from your community. That's why it's so like important that you have people that can come support you, come see what you're doing, like something.
Right.
Yeah.
When you perform at these different places, since you don't have like a manager, do you reach out yourself, or do you have somebody that does that?
I definitely do a lot of the admin stuff. So I reach out myself. I write my grants. I approach people to see if they're interested in writing about me. Like I do the whole thing. So yeah, like at this stage, there is a lot of me being my team, and that's not like the worst thing because you know I'm emerging with the team members that I have so far. Like with Mark and Maria, like we're really Mark, Maria, Michelle, haha. We're like
triple M's.
Like we're all like very focused on creating what the world looks like. So I feel like yeah, I'm in good hands right now.
Right.
Something very important about this industry is that you can only like introduce yourself to people once. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like people, it's a small industry. As big as it feels, it is also very small.
Right. So
it's like you want to make sure when you're introducing yourself and you're pitching yourself to people, you're pitching yourself for a purpose. Okay. And you're not just pitching yourself because it's like everyone else is pitching themselves. Let me pitch myself too. Like if someone actually takes you up on your pitch, do you have something?
That's
you
know
what
point.
I mean?
That's a great point.
Like, are you ready, or do you just think because that's what everyone is doing, you should be?
Right.
Like there's a lot of courage in taking your own path and taking your time with stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Everything in our industry feels so like, you gotta do it now. And if you don't do it now, you'll never succeed because people's attention spans. But it's like, breathe.
Right.
Calm.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, that's a great point. Because even like when I reach out to guests for the podcast, like obviously the goal for this season is to get to 30 episodes. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna sacrifice like my curiosity in the guests for it, in terms of like I'm not gonna just reach out to random people I don't
just to get to 30.
Yeah. So I'm like, every person I pick is like, even if I just meet them and I don't know much about them, I'll mention it, but then I like look into them more.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a story here, there's good questions here.
Yeah.
And, like I already have things I'm thinking about before I even like pitch it to them.
Because imagine going like an hour with someone that you just genuinely can't go back and forth with, or like you don't care about what they have to say. Like,
how do you maintain those relationships that you build with the venues?
Keeping engaged with them, their stuff, like even stuff that you don't participate in, like or that you weren't actively involved in, like it seems so small, but like engaging with people on social media is a huge thing. Like consistently being on people's minds, even when it's not related to direct business opportunities you're trying to pursue. If you're connected to someone, or like you've been following someone that's like a music rep and they post about their accomplishments and you're not congratulating them because it's unrelated to you, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying being a genuine person helps?
Genuinely, yeah. Who would have thought?
I mean, not me. No, I'm kidding. But since my camera died, I guess we're gonna wrap things up.
He was very well prepared.
Yeah.
He even tried to figure out Swahili. So guys, shout out. You gotta big him up for that. That's crazy.
You gotta show me some love.
You gotta show him some love.
But yeah, Michelle, you've been great.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate having you on here.
Thank you so much.
When you're selling out stadiums, I hope you'll come back on.
I definitely will, and
Okay,
you will
awesome.
get tickets. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited for the journey.
Mhm.
Thank you for including me in yours as well. As you
Definitely.
get to 30,
Definitely.
like I definitely believe in that. And as you continue to interview more artists, like
Definitely.
I'm excited to see what you create.
Very quickly before we end it off, did you want to, I don't know, give your socials and
Yeah.
also maybe mention that you're working on your EP? I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. So I am working on my an EP and a couple of singles. My next single is going to be called 1 Hour on Earth, and it's coming very, very, very soon. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. You can find my music, Michelle Hopkins, on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, all the stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Have a great one.
But what if I'm meant to be